Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin update on the Wolves of Crypto YouTube channel. Today we are discussing two separate topics, okay? And they're topics that I haven't really discussed before. I've discussed one of them before, but the other one I certainly haven't. The first of which I haven't discussed before too much because it gets so much attention and I don't like to be a copycat of other YouTube channels who talk about it all the time. Bitcoin ETFs, okay? Bitcoin ETFs, why are they important and why are they relevant in the current range? We've seen massive compression, massively low volume, not much price movement, massive amount of holders coming to the market, not much traders right now. And that's probably because people are waiting in anticipation for big news like ETF news. We've also got patterns of compression and we've got a very fragile position that Bitcoin is in. Yes, we are looking good. Yes, medium term and long term looks strong. But overall, if we did move downwards, yes, it's more unlikely we move downwards. But the fact of the matter is, if we did move downwards, Bitcoin is actually in a bit of a danger zone, right? Because we've tested regions like 24K before. And if we go down and test them again, it's very likely to actually start to break. So we really don't want to be seeing a downside move. And if we do see a downside move, an actual bear case, a very strong bear case could develop very, very rapidly with very, very short notice to a lot of traders who are wrapped up in this bullish scenario. So I personally think we're bullish on Bitcoin, but we do need to look into ETF. We do need to look into the bear scenario and be aware that it actually could unravel very badly as well. Just be aware of it and look at how we react to that situation if it occurs. Guys, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hey, let's discuss the charts we're going to be looking at today, guys. First and foremost, we're going to be looking at the daily chart. Second of all, we're going to be looking at the weekly chart in regards to this uptrending logarithmic line and the downtrending logarithmic line, which comes together to form the August move, which is basically the critical support structure we need to be holding in regards to a downside break. And then we're going to be looking at the long-term and short-term holder threshold on Bitcoin. Now, this is a on-chain chart that a lot of people probably don't look at too often. I personally don't look at on-chain too often as well, but this chart is specifically important because of certain reasons today. So we'll look at all of those in a second. Before we get into any of that, Bitget Exchange, guys, 5 times lower fees than Binance, optional KYC from anywhere in the world, including the United States of America, which means you can sign up with a VPN, even if your country is not listed as a country that you can KYC from. I reached out to these guys for a partnership. They did not reach out to me, so go ahead and sign up using my referral link in the pinned comment or description for a 15% trading fee discount on all fees for life. Go ahead and do that. It's the best way you can help yourself and the best way you can help your channel get onto good exchange, get off all these trash exchanges that are circulating around, all these exchanges under constant controversy. Get onto Bitget. All right. First topic of this video is basically the breakdown, and the second topic is, of course, the ETF application. I don't have an article to show you. I don't have a website to show you for ETF. I'm just going to be discussing to you straight up because I've got a few things I want to say about it. But I want to discuss, first and foremost, the chart. I've gone into charts very extensively in yesterday's video. I don't feel the need to do that again. What I will show you today is this, and I will keep it very short today. I think that Bitcoin is leaning bullish on a medium-term basis. The reason being is, first, just briefly, because, well, we're in a downwards trend. Of course, we're in a downwards trend, but we're in a downwards trend in the same way we're in a downwards trend right here, okay? We're in a downwards trend right now because we're seeing lower highs, okay, and lower lows. But overall, what are these lower highs and lower lows doing? Well, they're in a descending channel or descending wedge structure. So overall, even though we're seeing a downwards trend, just like over here where we saw a descending wedge formation, we're seeing a downwards trend in a structure that is bullish. So it doesn't really count as being bearish. It's just short-term bearish and medium-term bullish. That's the way I describe the price action right now, because short-term bearish in regards to the fact that we have a local downwards trend, but medium-term, what do we have? Well, we have a bullish structure, and therefore it's medium-term bullish. And long-term, I'm in kind of the same boat. Long term, I do believe as well that although, we are facing strong resistance, although we are at the top of a range, although 32K is a very important level for Bitcoin that we've rejected off a few times and we held for support over here. And so, we're facing very, very strong resistance. Although that is the case, I don't sit here and say that I'm long-term bearish either, because I understand that actually, long-term speaking, what are we doing? Well, we're in a long-term upwards trend. We're seeing higher lows, okay, and higher highs. That is a long-term upwards trend. So it's hard to be long-term bearish when we're seeing a long-term upwards trend. And, we do have this uptrending logarithmic support line as well, which is the very obvious line that we need to hold. Of course, we need to hold that. And we have that line being supported by things like bull market support band. We have that line being supported by things like 200-week SMA. We have that line being supported by things like the weekly Gaussian channel, just for top line of the weekly Gaussian channel. The fact of the matter is this, guys, we have an upwards trend on the long term. We have a downwards trend on the short term, but overall, it's actually a medium-term bullish structure. So it's very hard to be bearish right now. In fact, it's impossible to be bearish right now. If you're being consistent with the charts and you're being reasonable, it's impossible to be bearish right now. Here's where the problem is, right? Here's where the problem is. Bitcoin is actually in a very fragile state, okay? Technically, yes, it's bullish. Technically, yes, long-term it's bullish. It's an upwards trend. Technically, yes, 4-year cycle, all that. Yes, the bottom's in, whatever. The fact of the matter is Bitcoin's fragile right now. And it's fragile because of this reason, okay? I'm going to draw a line at 32K so you understand where the proper resistance is for Bitcoin right now. 32K is the proper resistance we need to be conquering. And we've been hitting our head against that, the pink line here, for a long period of time now, okay? We've been hitting our head against that basically for 4 months. And it's getting to the point in which we need to be breaking it, very soon. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing, what are we going to be seeing? Well, we're going to be seeing a breakdown, okay? And that would form a top formation, a double top formation, which is very, very bad. Here's the problem. If we break down from this uptrending yellow line, this is really the line that's quite important. If we break down from this uptrending yellow line on Bitcoin, where do we go? Okay? Because breaking down from this uptrending yellow line would be a breakdown from the bull market support band. It'd be a breakdown from a 200-week SMA. It'd be a breakdown from the Gaussian channel. Okay? It'd be a breakdown specifically. I'm going to specifically bring up the Gaussian channel here because the Gaussian channel is very important. If we break down from the Gaussian channel, if we break down from a center line of the Gaussian channel specifically, that will be the first time in Bitcoin's entire price history on the weekly chart that we have gone above the Gaussian channel and not seen a significant move to the upside, okay? Every time we go below, okay, if we drop below the center line, we see a significant move to the upside, downside, significant move to the upside, okay? When we move through this thing, we move through it with a great capacity of strength, okay? So we drop through it here, significant move, significant move, significant move, you know what I mean, right? Whenever we drop through it, we see big moves. Now, we've come up above it now, and if we're following the trend that's happened like 8 times, we should be seeing a significant move, right? So for Bitcoin to drop below the yellow uptrending line, and specifically to drop below something like 24.5K, that is that green box over here, that would be breaking the Gaussian channel. That would be seeing, for the first time in Bitcoin's entire price history, a failure for the Gaussian channel breaking above the Gaussian channel to result in a significant move. That's a big problem, that's a big thing. So overall, well, you could say, well, okay, the 24.5K is a major support zone. That's where the Gaussian channel center line is. We've got a long way. Even if we go down below this yellow line, we'd probably go there and bounce. That's what you could say. I'm not too confident that Bitcoin would bounce to 24.5K again. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why quite simply, okay? If we lose this yellow line, and by the way, that's going to be happening within August, okay? Because within August, we're going to see a move to the upside or a move to the downside. So if we break down in August below this yellow line, okay, what are we doing? We're going straight down to 24.5K. The problem is 24.5K has already been tested. 24.5K has already seen a resistance support flip, okay? Look what we did when we tested it from the other side, right? When we tested it once, we rejected, okay? We went downwards. We tested it again, we broke through, okay? That could be the same scenario. We tested it once, we rejected, we went upwards, we tested again, we break through. The point I'm making is this: if we break this yellow line, I know for a fact that we'll be going to 24.5K because everything would have been lost, okay? All the logarithmic chart lines, all of the linear lines would be close to being lost as well, except for the fact that they'd be a little bit lower, so perhaps 27K. All of the moving averages would be lost. The next place we'd be going to would be this zone here, this green zone, and I'm not confident that would be held again. Therefore, we'd probably drop below that, and therefore we drop back into this range which we saw for the entire bear market, and this would be a double top formation, and Bitcoin would be back in a danger zone of creating a new low. That is the fragility of Bitcoin right now. It is fragile. Yes, I'm bullish, okay, of course I'm bullish, but I'm understanding that on the occasion that we do break down, Bitcoin's actually in a bad scenario. It's actually not looking too good at all. We'd lose so much from a breakdown. So, we have to understand that there are regions we need to be de-risking in order to minimize our risk in case of a breakdown, because it certainly is possible. And here's what I tell you. I tell you that a more, conservative investor who is concerned about losing money, they would be de-risking on Bitcoin at a breakdown of this uptrending logarithmic line. And actually, you could say they'd be de-risking at a breakdown of a linear line, which represents the same kind of line here, but it's on a linear chart, which makes it a bit more optimistic for it holding. Another region you can de-risk if Bitcoin does break to the downside, of course, is 24.5k upon losing this green box and going down there. The only problem with that is that you'd be waiting for a 20% drop, okay? But that's realistically where it gets bad. Yeah, breaking down from this yellow line's bad, and yes, I can sit here and say that breaking down from the yellow line will lead to a breakdown of the green box, but overall, it's not guaranteed. There is support at the green box. Overall, it's the green box that we need to be holding. If the green box is lost, that's when we start to look terrible. I'm just saying, breaking down from the yellow line would dramatically increase the chance of the green box being lost, and I'm not particularly confident that it would hold. So we'll look into de-risk scenarios if it actually does occur a bit more, but overall, those are two little scenarios you can look at if you wanted to de-risk. Of course, I do not recommend buying in this region. I've said this over and over again. I believe that Bitcoin is coming towards an apex. I believe a move will be very, very soon. I believe that move will probably lean towards a bullish scenario. I do believe that, and that's something I've said over and over again. But I still, even with all of that said, don't think you should buy right now. Why would you buy right now? Why wouldn't you just wait for the bullish scenario to activate above 32k, buy 10% higher, and decrease your risk of all of this downside price action occurring? That's, what I'd be doing personally. I mean, look, it depends on your risk tolerance, of course. Perhaps you're happy to lose money. I don't know. But yeah, definitely I'm a breakout trader. And I definitely think when you see a range like this, it's something you want to be, waiting for. So moving on to the ETF, okay, ETF discussion here. I'm just going to be briefly going over this because I actually think it is important. And I haven't want to talk about it too much before because I sound like a broken record. No, well, I wouldn't sound like a broken record because I've never actually talked about it that much. But everyone in crypto is talking about it over and over and over again for weeks. It's just getting repetitive and frustrating at this point. But what I will say is this, okay? Bitcoin is seeing compression and it's seeing an interesting time in the market. We've seen very, very low volume, lowest volume we're seeing since 2020. If you look at the volume just on this move upwards, you can see the volume progressively decreasing for this entire move upwards. And you might think, oh, Wolf, that's bearish. How can you not be bearish? Well, guess what? Guess what, guys? Okay, the volume's also decreasing on the local move downwards. Okay, look at the local move downwards, also decreasing, which is bullish. So it's hard to say that the volume decreasing is bearish or bullish. The fact of the matter is it's more neutral. The fact of the matter is it indicates that we're seeing a shift in the market, and the shift in the market is very well described as this. The shift in the market is that we're not seeing short-term holding as prevalent anymore. We're not seeing, well, not necessarily, but we're seeing long-term holding as more prevalent, I should say. People are long-term holding Bitcoin more and more. The long-term holder supply on Bitcoin is increasing. This blue line you see on the screen here is increasing. And it's increasing dramatically. It's been increasing dramatically since mid-2021, but specifically even since the bottom we've seen an uptick, okay? And even since the ETF news just released, we saw an uptick. Why is it increasing? It's increasing because the bulls on Bitcoin, the buyers on Bitcoin, well, this is one of the reasons, okay, locally, they're not scared of Bitcoin anymore. They understand Bitcoin as a cyclical theory. They understand it's following a cycle. They don't think as much as they did in the past that Bitcoin is just random. And so they're happy to hold. They're not throwing around their Bitcoin like they were in the past. They're happy to hold. It's very important to understand. So, Bitcoin's stagnating at these price levels. It's been stagnating for 4 months. At the same time, we're seeing holders increase. At the same time, we're seeing a massive decision looming, a massive thing that could alter the market dramatically, the ETF decision. BlackRock, guys. BlackRock is one of the largest hedge funds in the world, if not the largest hedge fund in the world, and they have applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF. There has never been a spot Bitcoin ETF in the entire history of Bitcoin. The reason being is because, okay, we've seen many futures ETFs. The reason being is because spot ETFs are marked or kind of judged or approved or denied based on a different set of standards that futures ETFs are approved and denied on. In order for a spot ETF to be approved, it needs to pass various categories of testing in regards to market manipulation. That is why it hasn't been passed in the past, right? Market manipulation is what they've quoted when denying spot ETF in the past. Now, here's the thing. You could say, oh, Bitcoin's a manipulator, it's not going to pass. But BlackRock has a 575 to 1 pass to deny ratio, okay? So they've applied for 576 ETF in the past, okay? 575 have been approved by the FCC and only one of them has been denied. So the point is, they don't apply when they think it's going to get denied. Okay, so that's a very positive thing, and that leads a lot of people to believe that the ETF will be approved. I don't necessarily think that it's healthy for Bitcoin for an ETF like this to be approved, and I'll tell you why. Yes, it's going to lead probably to upwards price action. Yes, it getting denied will lead to downwards price action, that's for sure. But overall, right, first of all, it could be months away, so it's hard to talk about it right now, but it also could be soon, so I'm just talking about it anyway. And obviously when it does occur, all this pent up momentum, all this pent up price action will lead to a big impulse, because it's one of the most important things in the market right now, for the first time ever, spot ETF. But I actually think that it's, why are we so excited for it? I just don't get it. Okay, we're excited for what? A hedge fund to own Bitcoin that people are buying? Isn't that like the opposite of what we want? Isn't that the opposite of what crypto is meant to be? Crypto is meant to be, sole custody of your financial sovereignty, right? Why do we want a hedge fund like BlackRock to own all of our crypto instead? I don't want to talk about this too much on YouTube, but it seems completely counterlogical to the purposes of cryptocurrency. And it seems like people just want it to be passed so they can get a short-term 10% pump and destroy the cryptocurrency space forever as a result. It's like, why do we want this to be passed? I personally don't want to be passed. Look, I have a theory, and I really, really don't want to talk about this on YouTube. I have a theory, though, I'm just going to say it very briefly, okay, that what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of exchanges. They're trying to get rid of opportunities for you to buy Bitcoin for yourself, and they're trying to make it so the only places you can buy Bitcoin is through hedge funds, and so you don't actually own the keys, okay? And that is the way they'll get around, over-regulating Bitcoin instead of banning it. I don't believe they'll ban cryptocurrency. I believe they'll over-regulate it to the point in which you cannot own your assets, you cannot own your keys, and that is the way they will do it. That's my opinion, my theory. I don't want to talk about that anymore. In fact, I've probably said too much, and I might actually cut this out of the video. So if it's in there, it's a miracle. But yeah, that's what I think. And so, yes, I do think the ETF will lead to a dramatic move, but I think the ETF is just part of that whole situation we've got here, the fragility, because realistically, if the ETF is denied, even if it's approved, right, the price action we're going to see from it is going to be dramatic. It could throw us very easily above these lines. So that's all I wanted to talk about, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Become a Trader 10-unit course will teach you how to trade, guys. This course, basically, you can read the blurb on the website. You can check out the unit topics. Basically, this course will teach you everything you need to know about trading, everything you need to know about analyzing charts, finding trades, market psychology, strategies, etc. Literally everything you need to know. Throw us an email at cryptoacademycourse@gmail.com and we'll get back to you. Then check out the VIP group. On VIP, we trade altcoins on a sub-daily basis. Or 3 to 5 times a week is probably a better way of thinking about it. We have a 79.13% win rate, which is absolutely exceptional. It's a 4 out of 5 for every trade we do, right? Four trades reach profit, 1 trade doesn't. That's an excellent win rate, guys. So go ahead and check that out. Very, very profitable group. And that's the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.